Today, I think I should talk about something that will be an opportunity for all of you to learn and to become better people. Not just the children, but the adults also, I hope. Whenever I speak, I am asked to teach lessons on morality. There's a very good reason for that. I know more about morality than anyone since the Old Testament days. And anyone who knows me knows that I would rather teach morality than to have morals myself. Now, I'll do this through storytelling. And if you listen carefully to the stories, you will all learn to be better people. I'll start when I was a child. When I was a boy around the age of 8, living in that sleepy Missouri village, one day a farmer pulled a cartload of apples through our village. I waited my chance, and when I saw him speaking to a customer, I ran behind the cart and stole a watermelon. I ran behind the lumber yard, broke it open with the object of devouring it on the spot. But when I broke the watermelon open, I realized it was a green watermelon. I was immediately sorry that I had stolen that kind of a watermelon. I reflected on what my mom would tell me to do. And it soon became clear to me that my mother would tell me, think about George Washington. What would Mr. Washington do? And then the answer seemed clear. Mr. Washington would seek restitution. So I gathered up the watermelon, what was left of it, and carried it back out and put it on the farmer's cart again. And then I went around to the front of the cart and spoke to him. And I said, how dare you sell this kind of a watermelon to an unsuspecting public? We don't know which watermelons are good. That's your business. Well, that man stopped and thought. He had considered what I said. And then finally he looked at me and he said, you're right. I'll never sell another watermelon like that again if I have to starve for it. Now you all see what I did. I was only a boy, and this man's moral compass was off, and I set him straight. And what did I get out of it? A watermelon. So you see, even at age 8, I already had the ability to teach morality to adults. Now, I'd like to tell a story about when I was an adult, a young adult, during the time when I had very little money, and those times encompass a good part of my life. But I had one blessing. I had a roommate named Swenson. Now, Swenson was a Presbyterian and a Scotsman, and he was probably the kindest person I ever met in my life, pure of body and soul. Well, one afternoon I returned to our apartment, and Swenson said, "We must have $3. He had been going over our finances, and he said, "We must have $3 by the close of the day." I don't remember what the reason was, but I knew that we had to have it. He said he had prayed about the money, but it was up to me to go out and find it. I went back out into the street and considered what action to take. As I passed people, I noticed that most of them were people who I already owed money to, so of course I couldn't approach them. Finally, I was tired and I was frustrated, and I walked into the lobby of a hotel and I sat down and thought. Now, as I sat there thinking, I saw a dog on the other side of the lobby looking at me. And with his eyes, he seemed to ask, "Are you friendly?" And with my eyes, I answered, "Yes, I am." The dog walked over, sat next to me. I patted him on his brown, furry head, and we were friends. Now, moments later, it happened that into the lobby came General Miles, hero of the war, resplendent in his blue and gold uniform. Everybody recognized him. Everybody wanted to compliment him and shake his hand. Finally, as he approached me, he looked down at the dog and he asked, "May I pet your dog?" I said, "Certainly." He stood patting the dog on the head for a few minutes, and then he looked at me and he said, "Would you consider selling this dog?" I said, "Yes, I would." He said, "What's your price?" I said, $3. Remember, this is a story about morality. I only asked for $3. The general said, $3? Why, that's no mongrel. If I owned that dog, I wouldn't sell him for $100. I said, "No, $3 is my price." Well, he paid me and took his new dog up to his room. Moments later, I saw a young man walk into the lobby, looking so sad and so forlorn. And I said, "Have you lost a dog?" He said, "Yes, I have. Have you seen one?" I said, "I might be able to get your dog back for you. Would you pay?" He said, "I'd pay anything to get my dog back." I said, "Would you pay $3? There it was again. He said, "Gladly." Now you all see that I refused to go beyond what the Lord had promised to provide. He paid me the $3. I told him to wait right there. I went up to the general's room, and when he answered the knock, I said, "General, I must have the dog back." He said, "What do you mean? I bought the dog from you." I said, "General, it wasn't my dog to sell." He said, "You mean you sold a dog that didn't belong to you?" I said, "Well, General, in all fairness, I never offered to sell the dog. You offered to buy him." He said, "I'm tired of this. Take the dog and go. I never want to see you again." What do you think I did next? I gave back the $3. Remember, it's a story about morality. I took the dog back downstairs, reunited him with his rightful owner, who gave me the $3 that I needed. Now, the first $3 I gave back. because I didn't feel I'd earned it. The second $3 I kept because I felt that I had earned it. Now, there's a moral behind this story. I've never been able to figure out exactly what it is. So if you figure out what the moral is, please write me a letter. Now, I'll end with a story that came not so long ago. It was a Sunday morning. The wife and kids were out of town visiting relatives, and my publisher came by and gave me $300 in cash. Now, it's always a dangerous thing when a married man has money that his wife doesn't know about. I put the money in my pocket and I went to church. Now, it happened that the preacher gave the best sermon of his life that day, and he asked money for a good cause. I don't remember what the cause was, but I was sold. All I needed was the collection plate. But the preacher droned on, and the plate was not forthcoming. Suddenly I realized that my spirit of philanthropy was going down at the rate of $100 a minute. Finally, when the plate arrived, I stole a quarter. The lesson I learned: when someone is ready to buy, let them buy. Take their money. Let that be a lesson to all of you. The moral lesson is that I had good intentions. I had every intention of giving the preacher the money, but he wouldn't convey the means to give it to him. That's probably all the morals you can take for today. Begin to work on this as a project. If you listen to me, if you remember my stories, you will become a more moral person and pass that on to your children. Thank you.